Hello everyone and welcome back guys to ERC, where today we're here back for round 5 of the season here at the Austrian Grand Prix. And quite looking forward to this one. Austria though hasn't been a track that's gone my way on F1 2019, so perhaps tonight could be a little bit of a better result for myself. But yeah, we are here though on the grid, starting P11 for this one. After a changeable conditions qualifying, I'll take the fresh tyres, ready for the start of the Grand Prix. This one could be interesting. Some mixed conditions on the radar tonight, so we'll wait and see as to how it goes. But the 5 lights are coming on now then for the Austrian Grand Prix, and it is lights out and away we go. They're trying to get off to a nice clean getaway. You can see we've actually got the wheel and the pedal cam in this one. Apologies that it is quite big, but on the run up towards turn 1, they're just on the outside, trying to keep it nice, clean and tidy. There are a lot of Constantino and that to completely slam on the brakes to avoid ESR Amazed and Shazoo Leopard. They certainly didn't want to lose my front wing, and they actually pick up a warning for the collision with the car that ran into the back of me there. But I mean, we kept the front wing intact. That was the most important thing there as we head up towards the top of the hill there on the outside of KJ. All-rounder lagging about quite a bit off the start of this Grand Prix there. Luckily he goes right at the last moment there, so we do stop past him up into 9th place of the race here. Potentially thinking about having a little look around the outside of KJ there, but can't make anything work of it. KJ and Connor come together though, and that's going to move us straight up into P7 here, so up 4 places off the start of the Austrian Grand Prix there. That is one of our better starts we've had so far this season. Normally in league racing I tend to make, a place or two, but yeah, 4 is definitely one of the better starts that I've had so far this series here as we head down in towards the final couple of corners of lap 1 there. You can see Shazoo Leopard actually having to dive into the pit lane already here. He's picked up some front wing damage, so we're actually going to be up 5 places just like we did back at China in the second round of the series there. And yeah, up into P6 of the race here, nice and early on as we break down in towards turn 1 there, just after the 100 metre board. Struggling a little bit with the tyre temperatures at the moment. They were just not quite up to temperature. They locked the rears on the way through the first corner here, and you can see KJ now going to try and look around the outside as we head up the hill here. And yeah, like I said, definitely going to be making that webcam and pedal cam a little bit smaller next time. It was, yeah, taking up a bit too much of the screen, so I apologise for that. But yeah, KJ gets around the outside there. All-rounder as well is going to try and get round me as well. And at the moment there was no real point in trying to hold these two up. I was honestly just planning on sticking in the DRS and hoping they could bring us up towards the top 5 in this race. But yeah, we'll wait and see as to how that does play out for us over the course of this first stint here. And you can see by the end of lap 4 here, KJ still just up the road, and it had been working out all right at the moment. And the Mclaren of IMX Hybrid even, I should say, spins out there. Very weird place to spin it. I'm guessing he hit the inside sausage curb, but I don't really know, in all honesty there. And as we head through turn 1, you can see KJ all out over the grass through that final corner, but he does get it all collected up pretty quickly once again in this race here. And yeah, as we head up the hill once again, we're just trying to keep it nice and tidy at the moment, just racing for ourselves. We're up in P7. That is certainly, that'd be some good points at the end of the day here. And as we head towards the end of lap 9, this was actually very, very early in the race, and people were starting to make their first stops of the day. As we head through the final couple of corners there, yellow flags are out. I think that was actually for an instant going on behind me in the race there. We can see through the final couple of corners here, a couple of drivers, starting to make their first pit stops. KJ diving in to the pit lane there, and you can see over the next few laps there, we would actually be leading the race by lap 13. Now, I thought lap 13 was going to be an early pit stop in this Grand Prix, but no, everyone else dived in before me, and also, I got away with speeding into the pit lane. I have no idea how I managed that. We went 52 miles an hour in. You can go back and rewatch the footage, but yeah, we saw I got away with that this time around then. Not too sure how we managed that one, but we will take it at the end of the day there as we head back at the pit lane. And we have been undercut by a couple of drivers here. BRL Bruno Will, I think, started the race on a set of mediums, but I'm not 100% sure in all honesty there. Shazoo Leopard gets around the outside as well here, just like he did at Canada, having to try and go long on his second stint of the race after having to pit pretty much on lap 1, I think, in both Grand Prix here. So we might try and stick with him over these next couple of laps here, and that's exactly what we're going to try and do once again. Just take the DRS, and everything like that, save a bit of fuel, save a bit of DRS, and hope, that he can drag us up towards the front guys as well. I actually am going to have a bit of a look up the inside, unintentionally, because I was worried that I might run into the back of him as we head through the Sector 2 there. We can see onto lap 16 now, and almost at the halfway stage of this Grand Prix. We had closed up to the rear of BRL Bruno Will once again. They're BRL, a new team to the league. They're actually a Brazilian team, so a little bit of connection issues, but yeah, we're going to try and have a look up the inside, follow Leopard past him as we reach the top of the hill. There are a little bit of contact actually with Leopard. Needs to get on with it as we get into the traction zone there. You can see it is a bit of a drag race between myself and Bruno Will here. And we're going to go for one of the more interesting moves of my evening. You can see locking up massively there. A huge tank slapper as we head through on the exit of the corner as well there. But we somehow keep it pointing in the right direction there. And luckily for me, he does actually bail out there. We pick up a 3-second time penalty in the process for putting 2 wheels near the white line. Not too sure how that one works out. But yeah, we'll continue on. And now you can see lap 18, the halfway stage of this Grand Prix there. We've got a couple of cars just up the road in front of Leopard here. I'm not too sure who this is at the moment, but Jeff was starting to come on the radio about the weather. We might see the change to wets fairly soon, but now we're going to go for the move up the inside of Leopard here. He was starting to slow me down a little bit more than I wanted here. You can see trying to get the traction out on the exit of the corner there, and you can see it's actually the Haas of Smithson just up the road here. Obviously we had a really good battle with last time out. And lap 19, now the rain was starting to fall here. It was meant to, you know, it was meant to be sort of 10-15 minutes, and then suddenly it was, yeah, right now, so I'm not too sure how that one works. But yeah, him and LR Fury just in front of us there. They'd actually been not pitted yet in the Grand Prix, so it was sort of a bit of a lottery for them when the rain was actually going to come in this Grand Prix, because it wasn't actually scheduled to come right until the very end of the race there. So it was a little bit unfortunate for a lot of us, you know, that had already had to make a pit stop here. Some of the guys towards the rear of the field are really able to capitalise on this at the moment as we head through the final couple of corners here. But the rain wasn't falling too much. There was still a bit of sun in the sky. Perhaps it might not get wet enough for these guys to really be able to capitalise on this at the moment there as we head down through the final couple of corners here. It might be one of those races like we saw back at AOR France, where the track simply doesn't get wet enough for the intermediate tyres there. But, you know, it's a long way off at the moment. We'll just continue trying to push as well as we head now on to lap 20, trying to close up the gap. You can see how much we are closing up to both Fury and Smithson here. As you can see, Leopard still in the background as well as we head up the hill once again in this race. Is Fury going to drive for something? He is actually going to look up the inside of the Haas car there. A bit of wheel banging between the pair of them there, and Fury doesn't get the traction off the exit of the corner there. Almost completely takes himself out of the Grand Prix there. But yeah, that's us up now into P8 once again of this race, and P7 Smithson just in front of us there. A big lockup coming in from the bear of us. A huge overcorrection as we've reached the apex there, and somehow, yeah, once again keeping it pointed in the right direction. But Leopard, he's going to capitalise on that. He's going to be able to have a look back up the inside here. And at the moment, although I was happy to try and make the overtake on him, I was also just conscious about trying to lose us both as little time as possible here as we head down in towards Sector 3, towards the end of lap 20 here. Hassler, LR Hassler is now out of this Grand Prix here as we head through the final couple of corners. So still not wet enough to try and make this first pit stop here. And at the moment, that was really working out well for Smithson and myself, and not for, Leopard even myself, and not for the guys like Smithson here, obviously on those old set of tyres there as we head down in towards turn 1. Leopard almost ran into the back of him. We run into the back of Leopard there. Very lucky that we didn't pick up any front wing damage in that situation. But as we head back up the hill, you can see Leopard, he's gaining. I don't think he's going to be close enough to go for anything at the moment there, and we're just trying to get the car slowed down. Run a little bit of weird laggy contact, but we have kept it clean once again. We haven't lost the front wing yet in this Grand Prix here. As now towards the end of lap 21 into the pit lane here, you can see Leopard and Smithson and myself all locking up, all trying to get it slowed down nice and tidy there. And yeah, as we head into the pit lane here, making sure we don't lose any front wing on the back of these guys, breaking it down nice and tidy there. Yeah, no one really taking risks this time round as we head into the pit lane here. And you can see as we head into our box, Ferrari, they've done a true Ferrari and they weren't ready for me. And I mean, LK had pitted about 45 seconds ago and Ferrari still didn't get me sorted out in time there. So we've lost quite a bit of ground actually. Leopard's lost a bit as well to Smithson there. And yeah, somehow we've lost about 4 seconds there or thereabouts in the pit lane. And yeah, that was rather frustrating. BRR Bruno Will now is all over the back of us once again as well there. And yeah, now basically everyone's on equal footing in this Grand Prix. So we'll wait and see as to how this pans out in the second half of the Grand Prix here. But yeah, over these next couple of laps though, we really just need to try and settle down into a rhythm on the intermediate compound here, as you can see heading up to the top of the hill here. And I don't know why, but intermediate conditions I seem to really struggle with in the last couple of weeks. I mean, Bruno Will is certainly quite a quick driver as well there. But yeah, we just really were struggling at this stage of the day just to find pace, just to sort of maintain the momentum around these guys. I mean, we were losing more and more time to the Haas up the road, and yeah, it was all a little bit weird I'll be honest with you, at this stage of the Grand Prix here. And it's going to get even worse as we head through the second part of the double left-hander here. We're just going to light up the rear wheels, and I've no idea why I overcorrected as much as I did, but that is us out into the gravel trap there. We're going to lose even more places. LR Fury is going to sneak past me there, as well as AMS Critchley is going to be able to get past us as we head down in towards the final couple of corners of the lap there. And yeah, that was a really, really frustrating mistake there. We lost a good, what, 10 seconds there or thereabouts from that, maybe even more than that, as we head through the final couple of corners there of lap 24. And you can see by the towards the end even of lap 26, the rain was still falling down at this stage of the race, so it's going to be interesting to see if we would actually be able to move back over onto a set of the dry compound tyres as we head down in towards the final few laps of the Grand Prix there. But Critchley and Fury both going to dive in. Hybrid behind us as well. They're all going to dive into the pit lane on the end of that lap to move back over to a set of the dry compound here. And I thought it was a little bit weird. I was kind of praying that, you know, the track would still be wet enough we could try and, even if it was just go one lap longer, and then see where we ended up. But yeah, the track just seemed to dry out pretty much instantly in this Grand Prix, which was rather frustrating for us, I'll be honest, at the end of the day, because I mean, it was still raining when people made the call back to the dries. So yeah, pretty... Jeff, he doesn't make many good predictions on F1 2019, but this definitely seemed to be one of them there. And I mean, yeah, we've pretty much lost a whole pit stop to Leopard in about the space of 8-9 laps here, so it's really, really just got away from us pretty quickly in this Grand Prix here. And yeah, it was one of those frustrating ones. It always seems to be Austria on F1 2019 where we suddenly lose a lot of time, and I never can really work out where all the time's been lost and everything like that. It's just weird, obviously, where it's quite a short track, tyre choice is so important and everything like that. Any small mistake seems to have really big repercussions around this circuit. It doesn't add up to me at the end of the day there. But breaking down on the end of lap 27, we are going to dive into the pit lane once again in this race, back over onto a set of the dry compound. Obviously, there's no way we're going to be able to take these tyres 9 laps to the end and go hero at the end of the race there. And I mean, yeah, these guys are all going to get back past me once again. Have the team sorted out the tyres? It seems like they have this time. So, yeah, Ferrari need about a lap to get the tyres all sorted on F1 2019. But yeah, we're going to come back out there behind Fury, behind Critchley, behind Hybrid as well. They're all the way down in P13 of the Grand Prix. And yeah, it has completely fallen away from us in the second half of this race. From the highs of, you know, sort of, I mean, we were P6 at the end of lap 1. It really, yeah, it's just fallen away from us in the second half of this Grand Prix. But we wouldn't give up just yet. We continue pushing right in towards the dying stages of this Grand Prix. They sit almost setting the fastest lap of the race as we head on to lap 31 here. 5 laps to go. The gap to Hybrid just 1.2 seconds up the road here. But these guys were just in a bit of a slipstream train at the moment. And it would actually be LR Fury who would be the car that we close up to right at the very end of this Grand Prix there. 2 laps to go of this race here, and as we head through the final couple of corners here, we're definitely pushing to try and make this move work here. You can see we're running them very, very low on the ERS and the fuel, though. We've been pushing all stint long to try and make it work, to try and close up the gap to these guys. And I think, you know, the Mclaren and Haskar are a bit too far up the road. I don't think we're going to be able to get to those guys. You know, unfortunately, they just slipstream trained each other and broke away there. But you can see, having a look up the inside of Fury as we reach the top of the hill there, trying to get the car slowed down nicely on the apex, then trying to get the traction off the exit there. Huge amount of wheel spin as we head out of the corner there, and Fury clearly got something extra in the back of that Force India there, because he gets right back around the outside and back up into P12 of the Grand Prix here. But still, 1.5 laps to go of this race. It's looking like we could see for the 3rd time in 4 races here a real good last lap battle in ERC. I don't know what's happening more recently, but yeah, I seem to be getting a lot more of these at the moment. I mean, definitely, I'll take it. There's no complaining from my side here. As we head down, though, in towards the final couple of corners of the penultimate lap here, you can see trying to get the car slowed down nice and tidy there. And unfortunately for me, it's not going to show up on Elgato, but my TV just cut out for a split second there. I need to sort out, I think there's a bit of a weak component between my Elgato and my TV there. So that was rather frustrating as we head down in towards Tab 1 there. The gap to Fury is actually going to open up massively here, as we can see heading up the hill. We haven't even got the DRS anymore on him, but we have still got a little bit of overtake mode on the ERS, everything like that. Infamous comes through for yet another race victory here, and the gap to Fury 1 second as we reach the top of the hill there, but we have got back into the DRS here as we head down the next straightaway. I'll be able to get close enough to go for anything. See, making big gains as we head down in towards the final few corners of this Grand Prix. We have still got ever so slightly fresher rubber. We're trying to use absolutely everything that the engine's got there. He actually dips a wheel on the grass there, which is going to bring us a whole lot closer as we head down into the double left-hander for the final time in this Grand Prix, utilising the track space as best as possible there, almost running out into the grass through the final corner of Sector 2 there, and still using the overtake, still using the rich revs as we head down in towards the final couple of corners of this Grand Prix here. Through in towards the final corner, we're going to go full commitment over the sausage curb, get the run at the final corner. The Fiora is going to give us a bit of a punt, but he slows down towards the line, and we only just get him in the end there, or at least so I thought in this race. Luckily for me, he actually had penalties there, and according to the game, he still edged me out by 14 thousandths of a second there. I've actually got a couple of screenshots from the end of the Grand Prix as well there at the end of this video. But yeah, that was the closest finish I've had on F1 2019. Yeah, probably on the actual road, probably the closest finish that I've had ever on anything, in all honesty. I don't think there's many closer finishes than this one here on F1 2019. But yeah, what a monumental race it was in the end. Not quite the race I wanted, but I mean, that run to the line certainly recovers it just a little bit in my eyes there. But yeah, once again, there is another Red Bull 1-2 there. VSR really starting to pull away some good points over teams like Shizou. And I mean, BRL on a podium on their debut is a very good job by them as well at the end of the day there. But yeah, not quite the race I wanted. It all sort of fell apart in the second half. But you get those sometimes. We'll learn from it, and we'll get ready for Silverstone next time out nonetheless there. But it is infamous ahead of Top Tom Peroni. I'm butchering that name horrendously there. BRL Peroni. KJ Gamer, iLogic Gamer, All-Rounder, Leopard, Bruno, Will, Smithson, and Hybrid that finish in the points there. We finished in 11th in the end. We recovered to our grid slot at the end of the day there. I had a Critchley and Fury there, as well as I think Hassler. No, it can't have been Hassler. I don't know. He was in P14 at the end of the day. I'm pretty certain Livid were actually running 2 teams this week, and I don't think they're running any more, in all honesty. But yeah, having a look though at those screenshots, you can see just how close that was at the finish line there. Pretty much nothing between us, and yeah, definitely the closest finish I've had personally on F1 2019. But thank you all so much for watching this video nonetheless. Do get yourself subscribed if you're new around here. Look at how close that is. There must be at most a couple of centimetres in that. But yeah, that'll do us for this video though. Thank you all so much for watching. Do get yourself subscribed if you're new around here, and hopefully we will be back next time out for the British Grand Prix.